Imagine you have lived in a giant, beautiful palace for a very long time. You have 30 different rooms to choose from. You have people who cook for you, people who clean for you, and people who protect you. You feel like you are the most important person in the world because you are a prince. Now, imagine someone knocks on your door and tells you that you have to leave. They tell you that you don't belong there anymore. You get so angry that your face turns red. You start shouting as loud as you can. You tell them that they can't do this to you because your mom was the queen. This sounds like a story from a fairy tale book, but it is actually happening right now in real life. It is the story of a man named Andrew who thought his royal name would protect him forever. But as we are about to see, being a prince does not mean you are above the law. In the next few minutes, we are going to talk about how this prince lost his home, why the police are asking him very hard questions, and why even the people who work for him don't want to help him anymore. This is a story about power, big mistakes, and a world that is finally saying no to a man who always heard yes. There was a big house called Royal Lodge. For many years, people saw many young women going in and out of the doors. It was like a door that never stopped spinning. Usually, when someone goes into a royal palace, the guards have to check them very carefully. They have to make sure everything is safe. But at this house, the guards were told to stop doing their jobs. They were told to let people in without checking them. This even included a man who had done very bad things and had been in trouble with the law before. This man was allowed to go into Buckingham Palace, which is one of the most famous and important buildings in the whole world. Because of all these strange and bad things, a man named Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor was told he had to leave his home at Royal Lodge in early February. He was not happy about this at all. In fact, he was very, very angry. People who know what happened say he was in a total fit of rage. When he was told he had to pack his things and leave the 30-room house he had lived in for more than 20 years, he yelled out a very famous sentence. He shouted, "But I am the Queen's second son. You cannot do this to me." If he really said those words, it is a very shocking thing to say in the year 2026. Maybe someone would say that a long time ago, but not today. The world has changed a lot. His brother is now the king, and being the son of a queen does not mean you can do whatever you want. We need to talk about how this move happened because it did not just happen by surprise. Andrew had lived at Royal Lodge since the year 2003. That is a very long time. He moved in after the Queen Mother passed away. He signed a special paper called a lease that said he could stay there for 75 years. He even spent a huge amount of money, millions of dollars, to fix the house and make it look nice. But now, some very surprising news is coming out from a man who used to be a royal protection officer. This man's job was to keep Andrew safe. His name is Paul Page. Even though people tried to scare him and make him stay quiet, Paul is being very brave. He is telling the police in the United Kingdom everything he saw while he was working. He also talked to a news group called 10 News Plus. He wants people to know what was really going on behind the closed doors of the royal houses. The house called Royal Lodge sits in a very big and pretty park called Windsor Great Park. The land belongs to the crown, which means it is part of the royal family's history. For a long time, living there showed everyone that Andrew was still an important part of the family, even when people were talking about the bad things he might have done. It was like he had a strong foot holding the door open so he wouldn't be kicked out. But in the first few days of February, that door finally closed. People saw trucks and workers moving things out of Royal Lodge. Reports say that Andrew was moved out in the middle of the night when it was dark and quiet so that not many people would see him. He was driven away to a different place called the Sandringham Estate. This place is in a part of England called Norfolk. The king owns this land himself. People who saw what happened say Andrew did not want to go. He tried to fight it. He kept talking about how his mother used to be the queen to try and stop them from moving him. When he said, "I'm the queen's second son," it showed that he still thought his birth and his rank were like a shield that would keep him safe from trouble. But he found out that the shield was gone. Only about 2 weeks after he moved, something even bigger happened. On February 19th, Andrew was arrested by the police. This happened at a place called Wood Farm, which is on that same Sandringham land. What makes it even more surprising is that it was his 66th birthday. Usually, people have a party and eat cake on their birthday, but Andrew was taken by the police. They arrested him because they think he might have done something wrong while he was working for the public. This is called misconduct in public office. It means they think he used his power in a bad way. The police talked to him and asked him questions for about 11 hours. That is almost a whole day of sitting in a room and answering hard questions. After that, they let him go, but they are still investigating him. He has not been officially charged with a crime yet, but the police are still looking for more information. They are trying to find out the truth about what happened a long time ago. When Prince Andrew was in charge, the normal rules for security seemed to disappear. Usually, guards have to be very strict. But when Andrew was there, things were different. A man who worked for Andrew would call the guards and tell them that a guest was coming. He would say a woman was coming to the palace at a certain time in the evening. He would tell the guards not to worry and that he would come down to meet the guest himself. This meant the guards didn't get to check the guests the way they usually do. Because of this, the police have been searching different houses in places called Berkshire and Norfolk. They even searched Royal Lodge. The police are asking anyone who used to work for the prince, like guards or helpers, to come forward. They want these people to tell the truth about what they saw. They are looking for any information that might help them understand if the prince did something wrong. A lot of people are wondering what will happen next. Right now, Andrew is released under investigation. This is a fancy way of saying the police are still working on the case. It is not over yet. The police will keep looking at old papers, talking to people who might have seen something, and putting all the evidence together like a big puzzle. If they find enough proof that something bad happened, they will give all their information to lawyers called prosecutors. These lawyers will decide if Andrew should go to court. This part of the story could take a long time, maybe weeks or even months. It takes a long time because they have to look at very old records and sometimes talk to people in other countries. If the lawyers decide he should be charged, Andrew would have to go to a court just like any other person would. If they don't find enough proof, the case might just stop. Right now, we are all waiting to see what the police find. Let's talk about Royal Lodge again because that house is very important to this story. As of today, no one has said who will move into that big house next. Because it is part of the Crown estate, and because the police just searched it, the house is in a state of limbo. This means it is just sitting there empty, and no one knows what to do with it. When Andrew lived there, people used to joke that his bedroom should have a revolving door because so many different women were always visiting. Some people are worried that some of those women might have been working for other countries that are not friendly. Because of all these questions and the police investigation, the house might stay empty for a very long time. No one has been picked to live there yet. What we do know for sure is that Andrew is gone. This is the end of a very long and messy time for that house. Instead of a palace, Andrew is now staying in a smaller place at Sandringham. The king is paying for this with his own money, rather than using the public money that usually pays for royal houses. One of the most interesting parts of this story is about the people who work at the houses. There are reports that the staff at Sandringham were told something very unusual. They were told that if they felt uncomfortable or unhappy about serving Andrew, they did not have to do it. Usually, if you work in a royal house, you have to do what you are told. But this time, the bosses said the staff could choose. Many of the workers said they did not want to work for him. This shows that Andrew is becoming very lonely. It is not just about what the public thinks of him. It is about the people who see him every day. These are the people who cook his food, help him with his schedule, and help him get through his day. If the people who work for him don't want to be around him, it shows how much things have changed inside the palace walls. It is a very big deal when your own staff refuses to help you. We also have to talk about some of Andrew's old friends, like Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. These were people who did very bad things to others. A former guard said he first noticed Ghislaine Maxwell coming to the palace a long time ago, around the year 2000. The guards were told not to stop her. They were told to just wave her through the gates without asking questions. She started coming and going all the time, just like she was a member of the royal family. She had a lot of access to very private places. Later, she brought her friend Jeffrey Epstein there too. These two people were allowed to go into very high-level places in British society and politics. People call it a bizarre love triangle. It is very upsetting to think that people who were doing bad things were allowed to be so close to the royals. When we hear about how Andrew behaved behind closed doors, it makes sense why the staff might not want to work for him now. So what does King Charles think about all of this? He is Andrew's brother, but he is also the king. On the day Andrew was arrested, Buckingham Palace shared a message from the king. He said he was very concerned about the news. He also said that the law must follow a fair and proper process. He said that the royal family would help the police in any way they could. He made it very clear that the law is the same for everyone. The king's message was short and serious. He did not try to make excuses for his brother. He did not say the police were being unfair. He simply said that the legal process must happen without anyone stopping it. Prince William and his wife Catherine have not said anything themselves, but people think they agree with the king. They want to make sure the royal family is doing the right thing. A lot of people are also looking at Sarah Ferguson and her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Since their father was arrested, people have been watching them very closely. Sarah Ferguson, who used to be married to Andrew, was not in the country when the arrest happened. People saw her on a skiing trip in Europe. She has not said anything to the public about the arrest. Even though she and Andrew have been divorced for a long time, she was still living at Royal Lodge with him. But now that he has been moved out, that living arrangement is over. Beatrice and Eugenie have also stayed quiet. They have not made any public comments. Reports say they are talking to their father in private, but they are mostly focused on their own children and staying out of the news. Beatrice has 2 daughters and Eugenie has 2 sons. They are trying to handle everything quietly and protect their families from all the drama. There were some rumors that they might do an interview to tell their side of the story, but nothing has happened yet. They have been seen traveling to places like Florida or ski resorts, but they are staying away from the big storm of news about their father. There is another big thing being talked about in the government. Some people are discussing whether Andrew should be removed from the line of succession. This is a list of people who could become the king or queen one day. To change this, they would need to make a new law and get it approved by important people. Nothing has been decided yet, but the fact that they are even talking about it is a very big deal. It shows that this is not just a family problem. It is a big political problem too. It shows that people are taking these events very seriously. They want to make sure the royal family stays strong and respected, and having Andrew on that list might make things difficult. Let's put all the pieces of this story together to see the big picture. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor was forced to leave his home at Royal Lodge in early February. He was very angry and reportedly shouted that he was the Queen's second son and shouldn't be treated this way. Just a few days later, on his 66th birthday, he was arrested. The police are investigating him for doing something wrong while he was in a public job. They have searched his old house and other properties. King Charles has said that the law must be followed and that the family will cooperate with the police. Royal Lodge is now empty, and no one knows who will live there next. Even the staff at his new home are allowed to say no to serving him, and many have done exactly that. His ex-wife and daughters are staying quiet and trying to live their own lives away from the trouble. This has been a very strange and big series of events. It is hard to imagine how Andrew is feeling right now. He spent his whole life being treated like he was special and better than others. Now, he is being treated like anyone else who might have broken the rules. His ego, which is how he feels about himself, must be very hurt. When he shouted those words during his eviction, do you think he really believed his name would save him? Or was he just a man who was very angry because his whole world was changing in one night? It is a very big question to think about. He lived in a world where he was a prince, but now he has to face the real world where everyone has to follow the same rules. We are going to keep watching this story very closely. As the police continue their work and as we find out if any charges will be brought against him, we will let you know. It is important to know the facts about what is happening in the world, especially when it involves people with a lot of power. If you want to keep getting updates on this story and other important news, make sure you are following along. We will be here to explain everything that happens next, one step at a time. What do you think about the prince's shout? Do you think the king is doing the right thing by letting the law take its course? Let us know what you think. It is a very complicated situation, and there are many different ways to look at it. Thank you for listening to this story about how even a prince has to answer to the law. The story of Andrew is a reminder that times are changing. In the past, royalty might have been able to hide their mistakes or use their power to stay out of trouble. But in the year 2026, people want the truth. They want to know that everyone is treated fairly. When Andrew was moved out of his home in the middle of the night, it was a symbol that the old ways were ending. No more special treatment, no more ignoring the rules, and no more using a title to hide from the police. It is a very sad story for a family, but it is also an important story for justice. We will see what the future holds for Andrew and the rest of the royal family. Will he face a trial? Will he be removed from the line of succession? Only time will tell. But for now, the prince who thought he was untouchable is finding out that the world is a much different place than it used to be. The quiet halls of Royal Lodge now stand empty, and the revolving door has stopped spinning. The guards are back to doing their jobs the right way. The king is focused on leading his country with honesty, and the police are doing their work to find out the truth. It is a new chapter for the British royal family, and it is one that shows that no one, not even a prince, is more important than the truth. As we wait for more news, we can reflect on how important it is for everyone to be held accountable for their actions. Whether you live in a tiny house or a 30-room palace, the rules of being a good person and following the law are the same. That is the lesson we can all learn from this big royal mess. Stay tuned for more updates as the investigation continues and more facts come to light. We will keep you informed every step of the way. It is interesting to think about the people who used to visit Andrew at the palace. For a long time, people didn't know what was happening behind those big stone walls. But now that people like Paul Page are speaking out, the secrets are coming out. It takes a lot of courage to speak the truth when you are talking about powerful people. The more people who come forward, the more we will understand what really happened during all those years at Royal Lodge and Buckingham Palace. The police are still looking for more witnesses, so there might be even more shocking news in the future. Every piece of information helps to tell the full story. It is like a giant history book that is being written right now, and we are all watching it happen. In the end, this story is about more than just one man. It is about the idea of fairness. It is about the idea that everyone should be responsible for what they do. King Charles is showing that he believes in this idea, even when it is hard for his own family. It is a tough time for the royals, but it is also a time for them to show that they can change and grow. As Andrew stays at Sandringham, away from the big palaces he once loved, he has a lot of time to think about his choices. The world is watching, and the world is waiting for justice. We will continue to follow this story and provide you with the latest facts as they happen. Make sure to stay connected so you don't miss any of the important developments in this ongoing investigation. This is a story that affects not just the royal family, but the way we think about power and the law in our modern world. The situation with the staff is also a very big part of the story. It shows that respect is something you have to earn. Even if you have a royal title, you can't force people to respect you if you don't treat them well or if you do things that make them feel bad. The fact that the staff were given a choice is a very modern and fair way to handle things. It shows that the king values the feelings of the people who work for him. This is a big shift from how things were in the old days. It is another sign that the royal family is trying to be more in touch with the real world. As Andrew lives more in isolation, he will have to face the fact that his actions have consequences that affect his everyday life, not just his public image. As for the daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, they are in a very difficult spot. It is never easy when a parent is in trouble with the law. They are trying to be good mothers and protect their own children from the mess. This shows that they are focusing on what is truly important, their families. While there are rumors of them doing interviews, they are being very careful. They know that whatever they say will be heard by the whole world. They are taking their time to process everything privately. This is a very smart way to handle such a big and public problem. They are trying to find their own way forward while their father deals with his legal issues. The possibility of Andrew being removed from the line of succession is perhaps the biggest political move that could happen. It would be a very strong statement from the government and the king. It would mean that Andrew is officially no longer considered a potential leader for the country. This would be a very big change in his status. Even though it hasn't happened yet, the fact that it is being discussed shows how much people's trust has been broken. The royal family relies on the trust of the people, and they are working hard to win that trust back. Removing someone from the line of succession is a serious step that shows they are willing to do whatever it takes to protect the future of the monarchy. In conclusion, the story of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor is a powerful example of how life can change very quickly. From a 30-room palace to a police station, his journey has been full of drama and surprises. The Queen's second son found out that in 2026, the law is the most important thing. We will keep you updated on all the news as the investigation moves forward. Whether there are new searches, new witnesses, or a decision on charges, we will be here to give you the facts. Thank you for following this story with us. Don't forget to share your thoughts and stay tuned for the next update. The world of the royals is always changing, and we are here to make sure you know exactly what is happening.